Tool talks are originally, we set them to be a 5-minute talk about any tool that anybody might use. You don't have to be an expert in it. Any of you guys can do a tool talk. Guys and gals, everybody can do a tool talk. And please talk to me or talk to any of the organizers, or just submit a talk on the website if you're interested in doing this. Or come talk to me if you don't want to do one, but you have an idea for one that you'd like to hear. But yes, Tool Talks is just a great way to kind of talk about stuff that might be kind of common, but some of us might not know about, or we might hear about it all the time, but are kind of embarrassed to ask about it because it's like, oh, everybody knows that. So also, I want to do something a little bit different this month in Tool Talks, and maybe we'll start off a new trend. At the end of the Tool Talk, I'm going to go through a bunch of examples in here. But at the end, if you guys have an example, something you can commonly use it for, come up here and talk about it. I'd like to hear from 2 or 3 people out here. Netcat should be pretty easy because it's a commonly used tool. So please come. At the end of this talk, if you have an example that I haven't talked about, come up here and talk about. Tell us how you use Netcat. So Netcat, it's kind of like Unix cat, only instead you read and write from a socket. So it's written by Hobbit originally, I think about 20 years ago. It's a really old tool. Fyodor rewrote it with Nmap. So there's actually a couple of variants around. They're mostly the same, but there are a few kind of different options that they have. Netcat was built kind of under the Unix philosophy: do one thing, do it well, work with other programs with pipes, and text in from one and out to another. So basically, it's like a Lego. So you can use Netcat, which is NC as a command. You can take anything from standard in, whether it be something you type, it could be output from another process, and then it goes out to the net. It could be to another. You can specify a port on a different machine running a service, or it could be random ports if you want to test stuff, or it could be to another Netcat instance on a different machine. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, and it's kind of a colloquialism that everybody gives to this one for whatever reason. So there's so many things you can do with it. You can do raw connections, like to another process. You can do a simple web server, UDP server client. You can do basic chat mechanism. Port scans, proxy, you can have a Unix process via a server, you can copy files, you can do other cool things like send lines real slow one at a time, or there's so many things that you can do with that. So, how do you use Netcat? Well, install it first of all, but it's probably already installed on most platforms. Under Mac OS, it comes pre-installed, which is kind of cool. From most Linux distros, you install from repo. It's called nmap-ncat because they use nmap variant on the EL Enterprise Linux variants. It's Netcat BSD on Debian derivatives. On Windows, I'm not quite so sure about, but I'm sure there are plenty of resources out there you can find if you need to do that. So, how do you use Netcat? There are tons of options for it. I'm not going to really go through them all here, but you can specify if you want to use IPv4, IPv6. You can specify the listening port. You can do source routing with it and set the verbosity levels higher. You can set weights, and there's tons of options. So read the man page on it and check it out, especially because some variants have some options where some don't. So here's an example of how you might use it. This is a very basic example. So I've got basically one machine on top and a second machine on the bottom. On the top machine, I'm running Netcat to machine B, port 31337. On the bottom machine, I'm running Netcat-L for listen on port 31337, and you're typing. So I wish I had a better way of describing this, but on the first line, hi there, that was typed on machine A, and what's up, is typed on machine B. So it's very basic, it's just what comes in on one machine goes out on the other, and vice versa. If you want to do something a little more substantial, like you can connect to, let's say, a telnet server, or a SendMail server on a machine. So Netcat to the machine name, port 25, and you can talk to it, and you can send it a short little message, or whatever you want to do. You can even set it up to be a basic web responder. Like you have something messed up and like, oh my gosh, I can't get Nginx running again. I don't know what's going on. So in an expedient web responder here, you just run this nice simple little command where you're listening and you're just having a basic web response being echoed into it. So the common theme here is everything's using the pipes. They're using standard in, standard out. And then you can do more with that. You can netcat to a machine and from a file, and then this is a simple way to do a file transfer. It's not secure at all, and there's no integrity verification, but what the hey, it works, and you know, if you need to get something up and running really quick. You can do hex dumps from it, so if you're connecting to a binary source, it actually has a format for a parameter for dumping direct hex data. If we want to do like flooding network, we can just put a whole lot of data into netcat on both machines or one machine or whatever, and you know, as fast as the data can come in through that Unix pipe, it's going to go right back out the network interface. Well, let's say I want to set up a reverse shell, and this is a very, very basic way of doing it. Obviously, there are other ways to do it. It might be simpler. So here we do run netcat with the listener, and on a different machine with my reverse shell, I run netcat-e for execute, and then you got to type the full path. So bin sh, you can't just type sh. You got to type the full path to it, otherwise you're going to get errors. Host name, port number, and then what's interesting here is there are no. You're not going to see any prompts here. So you see first line, I just hit enter. It's like, oh, what's going on? You type who am I, and oh, it responds. But there's no shell prompts or anything like that. It's very basic, no frills, but it works. Another cool way to use netcat is to make quicker use of your SSH jump hosts. So a lot of times you'll have like one machine with SSH sitting on a border, and that's the only machine you can SSH to. And then you got to SSH to another box. So what I like to do is I put a nice simple line in my SSH config, and it has a proxy command. So as soon as it connects to this other host, it just runs SSH to the following host through netcat. And then all this is going to do is forward your traffic through. But instead of SSHing into machine A, you can get a login prompt, SSH to machine B. You can do it all in one go. You can run all sorts of arbitrary commands with the use of the -e. So if there's any common Unix utility and you want it to be network enabled, bam, netcat-e, path to the file, and the port that you want to listen on. And then you can connect to that port and see the results there. Another cool use is to make a proxy in a hurry. You know, it takes no time to set this up. Actually, I use this today because we have fun egress filters on our firewall, and the stream that I want to listen to is on an odd port. I don't know if that text is big enough, but basically I just ran a while loop, and all it does is run netcat, listening on port 23, which is a privileged port. That's why I had to run it as root, which is, you know, obviously this is something you want to do every day, but this is a nice, quick, expedient fix for things. But here what we're doing is that we call the make FIFO command, and what that does is creates a named pipe. And a named pipe is a special file that standard in goes directly back to standard out anytime you type to that file. But what's cool about that is usually when we're using netcat, your first command, pipe to netcat, as standard out going to the standard in of netcat, but where standard out of netcat just goes to the terminal. So what we want to do is get it back to the first program. So what we're doing on the first and second program, which are netcat in this case, we just change our standard in and standard out on those files to use the named pipe instead of the screen. And that way, what we're doing is bouncing the traffic back in and out as the traffic comes through here. So those are my basic examples of how you can use netcat. If you want to check out other alternatives, there's cryptcat, which is if you want to have encrypted traffic, and but that's basically it. So I'd like to invite anybody else up here who has used netcat and would like to talk about how they use it. So 2 or 3 people, just come right up and take the mic and tell me how you use netcat. And everybody's shy. I'll tell you what, here we go. We got Joel here.
So for the Cyber Patriot, Challenge, they have one of the test images. They riddled it full of netcat instances doing shells, and so it's like reverse shells and stuff like that. And you had to find them, and then you had to take them offline, but you had to of course document them first and all that stuff for the challenge. But so that's an example of how to use netcat to maintain persistence.
All right, thanks. We got another example?
Yeah, one quick little one is so netcat, which is the I guess a fork of netcat. Is what's that?
The nmap fork.
Yeah, the nmap fork. It might. I don't know if it comes on any links. I think it comes on. Maybe Callie has it. But yeah, most importantly, when you install nmap on Windows, if you're weird like Windows like me, and you have nmap on there, then you get netcat, which is like an enhanced netcat. And it's all the same features, and it has SSL support. So if you're trying to diagnose an SSL connection, it's pretty useful because sometimes looking into SSL connections is difficult. So netcat on Windows is a nice little tool.
Awesome, thanks.
Yep.
And anybody else have examples? Going once, going twice. Yeah, we have one. Come on up here. Come on up here.
You probably already talked about it, but port scanning. If you don't have nmap, you can use this NC-ZV, and you can check for open ports. But one of the cool things is you can do NC-ZV space -U and check for UDP ports.
Absolutely, thanks. Very good. Okay, we got our examples, and that was a successful experiment, I'd say. So thanks a lot for listening to Tool Talk. If, again, like I said, you guys can do the Tool Talk. Please sign up to do one, or come talk to me if you want to hear something on an interesting topic. Thanks a lot.